Thank you so much for joining in for our special seminar series on civil society, reflections on 30 years of democracy in South Africa. My name is Denford Chibongotse. I'm a research fellow at the Center for Civil Society, and I also facilitate the special seminar series here at the Center for Civil Society at UKZN. Today, we are joined by Brian, who's attached to the South African Informal Traders Forum. So in this seminar series, we are just looking at the 30 years of democracy in South Africa. And then we are going to engage with activists from South African social movements and social justice campaigns to consider the state of political and human rights, environmental justice, informal employment and access to health, and the impacts of livelihoods from resource extraction. So today we are going to focus on informal work, and we are going to get critical perspectives from the South African Informal Traders Forum, right? So Mr. Paaloh is the General Secretary of the South African Informal Traders Forum. The South African Informal Traders Forum is a forum that represents informal traders. Its membership extends to organization and structures. Paaloh travels the length and breadth of the country to support the diverse struggles in the informal sector. The South African Informal Traders Forum has represented traders in successful legal action and continues to make a positive impact on lives. Paaloh has been a key contributor to the publication that serves to protect the rights of informal traders. He is the champion for human rights and economic rights. We welcome you, Mr. Paaloh. Thanks for joining in, for making time. Well, informal work is something that holds dear to my heart because my PhD thesis focused on informality or space in Zimbabwe. So I think I'm going to enjoy this seminar. So I'm going to facilitate this session. Brian, I'm going to give you 30 minutes to give us your presentation. And then after that, we'll have a Q&A session where Brian is going to engage with the audience. And maybe we can just have a discussion around the issues of informality, the issues of the right to the city. Have they been achieved in the last 30 years? Thank you so much, Brian, for joining us. If you can just, tell us more about informal work and your work within the organization that you represent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for inviting us, and thank you for giving us this platform. As you said from your introduction, my name is Brian Paaloh. I'm the General Secretary of South African Informal Traders Forum. And since 2012, I was elected then, I'm still the standing secretary. Look, man, concerning the topic, it's a bit disappointed because in most cases, in every platform that we invited to speak, it seems like we very negative in many aspects. But the truth of the matter, that's exactly what is happening when it comes to the informal worker, as you say. Informal trade in South Africa, it was actually recognized around 1996. And before then, there was apartheid, as all of us know. Normally what you will do if ever you're in a big city like the city of Cape Town, the city of Johannesburg, and eThekwini, and the small municipalities. You will go to the local municipal offices on a daily basis, whereby you will be given a permit. You go, you will tell them that you would identify a certain spot in the city, and that's where you would think that you can make a living. They will give you a permit. They would say they will send 1 or 2 of the inspectors with you, and then if they see that there's no problem, then you will be given the space, but it will be something that is not permanent. You can go today, tomorrow. When you go to the same, you approach them, you want to use the same spot, they can tell you today it's not available. So that's why we're saying it was recognized in 1996, because in 1996, it was formally informalized. What do I mean when I say that it was recognized by the municipalities that were elected then, and they started working on a daily basis. Some cities and towns, up to date, they don't have what is called a permit. Those that have a permit, they are not sure what is a permit, what does it mean, and where is it going when it comes to formality and everything. Because in our understanding, we don't even know why our sector is being called informal. Because by going to the municipality, you get a permit, they get your name, they get you on a database, you pay the monthly fee that is required for you to run your business. We really think that is formal. But because of the laws of the country and the background that we're from, and only if you are not registered with a certain institution as a business, of which that totally differs from a mama who wakes up on a daily basis, go in a certain corner from 4 o'clock in the morning up until 6 o'clock. At 7:30, she's done her business in town. She have to go back and do other businesses. We feel it's not fair for that mama to be told to go and register with CIPRO, because CIPRO, there's a lot of red tapes. Not everybody qualifies to have a company that will be registered under their names or he or her name. And there's a lot that is being charged there, as long as your company is formally registered. So we think that there's no necessity for that. Going back to looking at 1994 up until now, as we are talking of 30 years of democracy. In our sector, in the sector that we represent, we don't know that. We don't know what is democracy. Actually, we think that democracy doesn't exist in the country. Actually, we can evenly add to say we are maybe supposed to start our struggle afresh when it comes to the informal sector. I will simply say, in those that are in eThekwini, you go around there, they are formal kind of markets that you get in the city of eThekwini. Like for an example, you'll go to Chatsworth, you'll have the market there. You go next to the station there, there's a formal market. The majority, or the people that are owning those places, that are running those places, there's no transformation at all. It's people that, or maybe their fathers, their forefathers owned those shops there. They continuously doing that. They inherited that, and the business is strictly for them. For the majority of the country population, they go there, they are workers, they work. There's no transformation, there's no government department that is interested to make sure that the sector it's widely open for everybody and for every citizen. Not only that, the cities, that is your city of Cape Town, the city of Johannesburg, the city of Tshwane, and the city of eThekwini, immediately when they recognize that there's this sector that should be regularized now, they had in Johannesburg and in Pretoria and in Ekurhuleni, we call them Metro Police. I believe also in eThekwini also in Cape Town. But in small towns, there will be your traffic officers that are given a full responsibility to make sure that they regulate the sector without even the whole information. What should what is their duties? What should they do? What should they not do? What should they allow members or people that are involved in the sector to do? That resulted in the city of Johannesburg in 2013, whereby the city itself decided that, look, we don't need this sector or we don't need these people. Then they had an operation. It was a mayoral operation that was called Operation Clean Sweep, whereby they cleaned everybody. They kicked out literally everybody who was surviving on selling on the street. For 3 months, people suffered. Lucky enough, by then, there were formations like ours. We knew and we understood that the sector, there's a lot that needs to be done. And we were well prepared because when we came in 2012, we made sure that we registered by registering it, and we have a constitution. We must know who should be represented, and those who cannot be represented, what do we do with them? And how do we assist them? Because not everybody, you will know that we from our background in South Africa, we're from apartheid. There's a lot of formations. People that are in Durban, they will recall there are a lot of formations that were there that will claim that they represent informal workers and informal sector on its own. But in reality, that wouldn't be. It will be your former comrades who they saw a space or who were told that, look, go around, form an association, form whatever that is it. We will use it. We will utilize it to use your database so that we can have something that we account with when it comes to the meetings and everything. As the result, there was that, or there is still that confusion. We don't have a clear department when it comes to the departments that the government is conducting. We don't know whether we should go to the Department of Economic Development so that we can be assisted. We don't know whether we should be going to the newly formed small business. Formally, you will go to these institutions. Why we are saying we're confused? Because when you go to the small business, they will tell you that, no, we don't do this, go to DED. You go to DED, DED will tell you, no, we're no more responsible since the small business department was formed. So go back there. We keep on, we've got that struggle. We try to engage the government, whether locally, nationally, provincially. They seem like there's a lot of resistance. Actually, we are seen as counter-revolutionists, which is very disappointing. I remember when we came to eThekwini, they adopted the very same system whereby they are using a very old strategy that was used by apartheid government, divide and rule. They will have a so-called street committee. Street committee, they will be belonging to a certain
Look, I think we've lost Brian.
It seems as if we've lost Brian. Let's just wait for him to reconnect.
Ben, could you just maybe text him and tell him that he's off? Sometimes people don't realize that and they carry on talking. I know I've done it.
Oh, okay, Prof. I'll do that.
Thanks,
I'll do that.
Ben. Sorry, everyone. Just wait for Brian to come back. I have so many questions to ask him, actually.
Yeah, I think it's a network issue. I think he's going to rejoin.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Desmond. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I just wanted to find out whether he has some slides to share whilst delivering the presentation.
We'll have to find out from him. But I don't think he prepared some slides, because normally we encourage our speakers to share their slides as they present.
Okay.
Please, let's just be patient.
Okay, he's back. There he is. Hi, Brian.
Okay.
Brian, you're muted.
Brian, you can
Yes,
continue.
I thought you
know
guys.
network is.
Yes, I thought there's a sabotage, but I trust people from a tech. They can't do that.
No. Carry
All
on,
right.
Brian.
Yes. Now we are saying, reflecting back to 30 years of democracy, really it's difficult for us to say a lot when it comes to the sector. We've been approaching, and we will continuously trying to make sure that we liberate the sector, because it is not. The officials that are there, either in eThekwini, in Cape Town, wherever, actually I think there's a program that is adopted on a national level whereby they must make sure that they destroy the sector. They've got all the excuses that they will give to us when we meet them. First of all, the sector it's taken over by foreign nationals. To them, it is a problem. And then therefore, because of that reason, they think that the sector doesn't need to exist anymore in South Africa because it's not serving South Africans. Rather, foreign nationals are doing as they please in the sector. And secondly, they believe that some of them, they believe that we are nuisance and we are dirty. We are making the cities very dirty, and people cannot walk, cars can't drive, people cannot live. Actually, they make sure that they are relocating because of informal traders surrounding them. But as the chair said, he's a researcher. We worked with tertiary institutions like City of Cape Town, your Wits University, your UJ. And according to the research, and there's a lot that we are doing. The sector is participating a lot when it comes to employment. I can literally tell you, in the city of Johannesburg, we've got plus minus 8,000 informal workers only in the CBD. We're not talking about your mid-range. We're not talking about your Soweto. We're not talking about any other area. We're strictly talking about the CBD. We've got 8,000 informal workers. And those people, all of them, they make sure that they employ more than one person in their stand. As small as their stand they are, but they are employing a lot. And we know you will go, if ever you're doing your research nicely, you know our role when it comes to the growth of the country. Economically, we participate a lot. We participate with a plus minus 2 billion rand annually. And it gives us a problem when we see that our officials are not interested. And we thought before it's merely because of a grouping. We thought because African National Congress, or in the majority of these years in these municipalities, they've been the organization that have been governing. Because of that, we decided that as a forum, we will take a stance that we don't affiliate. Actually, we don't discriminate, or we don't accept, or we don't work with any organization when it comes to politics, because our members, they should have a free role of choosing any political party they want to affiliate with. They shouldn't be, therefore, a struggle to be members of the forum because we took a stance that we go with a certain political party. So we don't entertain politics when it comes to our sector, strictly because of our experiences. You go to a city of Cape Town, Democratic Alliance, we've been in government there for quite some plus minus 8 to 10 years. Not only the Black people in Cape Town that are involved in the sector, we've got people that are dealing with flowers. They're the people of color. So if you've got no color and whatever, they are getting the same treatment that our members in Limpopo, they will be getting. So it's not about politics again. It's not about political parties. As I'm saying, Democratic Alliance, we've got the same tendencies as African National Congress, as any other political party. Last year in the city of Johannesburg, after we fought our wars and won a little bit, whereby we managed to make sure that people are back on the street, they are making a living. Under the coalition government, we thought, wow, everybody's here now, they will sit down and they will be conscious about whatever that they do, because some of them, when you listen to them, they are pro-African. Some of them, they are really, really down to earth, and they want to work. They will claim they are working with the poorest of the poor. So we thought, yes, something big, it's gonna happen. eThekwini also, they're experiencing the same government. Tshwane, they also experiencing the same government. But we are also experiencing the same attitude that we experienced even before democracy, whereby we are marginalized, whereby even if there are policies, you'll find out that it's not a proper policy, but it's a kind of a copy and paste. The laws that are governing the sector, you can go to Business Act. It was done long time ago. It was 1977, if I recall nicely. Our government, they're not interested to amend and have laws that can accommodate the current status in our cities. That disturbs us. That disturbs us, and but that doesn't discourage us, because look, we know very well that there's a role maybe that we should play until somebody will have an ear to listen to us. In most platforms now, we are being blamed that we are the cause of the problem. We are not pro-democracy, and our sector, it's very difficult to regulate it. I know the city of eThekwini, with the late engagement that we had with them, they've got a so-called a revised policy. But when I read the policy, there's no difference between it and the policies that have been there. There's nothing that they will exchange. I mean, that will change the life of an informal trader. Rather, they are coming with more regulations that are making sure that people are discouraged to participate in the sector fully. You will know there is a famous Ubumbuano in eThekwini that I understand very well now. They are discouraged in a way that they are up to not existence. People that were leading Ubumbuano, they are encouraged to form new formations, because they must align with whatever that is happening there on the ground. It's very disappointing. Right now we are in my last 3 minutes wrapping up. We are in election kind of a season. I can tell you no one spoke about us up to date. I only know now in Gauteng that the premier is gonna go and visit Tshwane, because they know very well that they did everything. They met every important person, every sector. They engaged with them. They had meetings with them. Maybe someone just remembered that they so-called informal sector and they so-called informal traders. You go into their policies, there's nothing, or their manifestos, there's nothing that is tangible that you can say this is strictly for the sector. So it simply tells you that we are ignored. Actually, we are a sector that it's needed to get rid of. But because people understand our background, people would understand where we're from, people understand that even them, before they can be recognized and manage to be in government, once they were not recognized. They were called names and they were not allowed a space to say anything. So we understand that it's happening in ourselves now. And we believe that as more as we mobilize, we speak to people, we go around the country as we're doing as the mandate, we make sure that people are aware of the challenges that are facing the sector. They shouldn't be very close with the so-called officials, because the officials, they are fighting very hard to make sure that we are not getting anywhere. The last example, eThekwini, we went around, when we were going around there, we find out that eThekwini people, they will be like your former Metro members. They will come, they will say, yeah, no, look, we saw that what we were doing to the members on the ground, it wasn't fair. They encouraged to form associations that will claim to be representing members on the ground. But practically, we see that these people are not representing anyone. They are there for themselves. Chair, I think my 30 minutes, it's there, even there was some disruption. I'll stop there for now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you for taking us through some of the challenges that informal workers face in across the urban spaces in South Africa, and also how they have interacted with what I would call obsolete laws that do not speak to the current lived experiences of informal workers in South Africa. Now we'll go to the next session where we'll have maybe questions from the audience, those that want to engage with Brian, maybe learn more or debate about the issues of informality in South Africa in post-1994. Are there any you can just show? Okay, let me start with Shona, then we'll have Ben, and then Andres.
Thanks so much, Dan. Brian, thanks so much for that really interesting insight. So first of all, I think that, we need to acknowledge that there is like this sort of global drive towards trying to regulate everything, trying to, surveil everything. But for me, it's always defied logic in South Africa. The informal sector contributes to the economy. The informal sector is how we deal with the fact that we have high unemployment rates. And the informal sector is where people are able to do the things that they are easily able to do, trade the things that they're able to trade. They also perform a vital function. I did some research in the Warwick Junction among informal traders. And this is where my question to you is, so what I uncovered was that there are these sort of unseen, unstated networks of solidarity among traders. They would do things like the chalk lines or the chalk lines for those trading stands or those covers for the trading stands. They would just stand beyond those chalk lines. So they wouldn't occupy the chalk line because they're not paying the fee for that, right? So they would stand beyond the chalk line and still trade. They would use things like trolleys to quickly throw their things into and rush off when there was a raid. They would tip each other off about the raids. So I guess these are all the informal traders who are not able to join your alliance because they're not part of an organization. So my question is, how do you provide support for those sort of networks that have been built up, I think, just because people need to survive? And then the other question I have, and I'm going to just stop at the second question. It's a technical question. Are you registered as a Section 21, an NGO? Is that how your organization is registered? Thank you.
Thank you, Shona. I'll take Ben, and then maybe when Ryan responds, and then we'll go back to Andres for the third question or the fourth question.
Thank you, Chair Danford, and thank you again, Brian, for your presentation. It's very educational. Now, I want to touch on the things that you already alluded to, especially on the part of a department that is responsible for informal traders that will be expected to give support. Your economic development is supporting small businesses, I understand, and in turn also support big businesses, economic development. But now you don't have a clear department that support informal trading or informal sector. And then what is your strategy in terms of engaging the government? I think on the presidential level, where you engage the president's office, because I understand that these two departments, economic development and small business, most people are saying it should be one department. It should be economic development and small business, because it's just creating work for comrades where you create two departments. That's why you run up and down between these two departments. You don't get no help. It's supposed to be in one department. Everything's supposed to be done one department. What is your level of engagement in government in terms of in the president's level, so that you will flag this issue and see whether is there any help that you get from the president's office if there's no department that is responsible or can be able to give support to you? Because I believe that small business department also has money that supports small businesses, but your people there or your members cannot access finance because you cannot access the funds of the small business department. There's funds that are created for small businesses there, but you cannot access that fund because actually you are not in their plans. Thank you. Let me end there.
Okay, Brian, if you can attend to the questions.
Thank you, Chair. Let me start with the last one. We are doing our best that we can do, Comrade. We're engaging with every department. We engage with the Department of Small Business. We engage with the ministers. We engage with almost everyone who's involved into that. And but we know very well it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be now. But as we go on, we believe that we'll be liberated. There's a new. We are trying to influence, because when we look and read the documents that the small business have, there's nothing that speaks to a mama who wakes up at 4 o'clock, for an example, who cannot even read, who cannot write, who cannot do anything. There's nothing that says anything about that. So strictly and surely, that department is not there for informal trade. But we are trying to engage them in a way that there's a document that they're about to launch, We are among the organizations or sectors that approached them to say, look, let's try to deal with red tape. Because even if, let's say, you are registered, as they say, in Gauteng, I will just make an example to answer your question. In Gauteng, under the MMC, Lebogang Maile, he had a program that was called Kondisisishini Lakho, meaning you make sure that you are registered. They were going around encouraging our members to go and register with CIPRO. We encouraged them. We said, look, these people, they don't have a problem. They can go and register with CIPRO. We, as a forum, we assisted them. Those who were suffering, but they didn't have money to make sure that they can register. We assisted them just to prove a point that registering a business for an informal trader, it's not going to assist, and we're not going to get what the government is promising to give. We did that. Most of them, they were registered. And then we went back to the Department of Economic Development in Gauteng. We said, here our members are registered. We had a program. I remember we organized a summit by then in 2013 under the late MMC in Gauteng and Nkosi Pendule. We engaged with the department, whereby we even involved the Chamber of Commerce. We tried to convince them and say, look, they must give us a space there whereby we can engage, whereby we can get funding, making sure that informal sector is supported when it comes to government. We met with Stella Ndabeni sometime, I think 6 months down the line, and she promised that there will be a summit that she's organizing that will strictly speak to informal work. We are looking forward to that because we met with her. We forcefully made sure that they are inviting us to some of their programs. Small business, strictly speak to Ben, who's a lawyer. Then he decided not to work for any other law firm, but he decided to establish his law firm. And then he will have to go and engage with the small business department for funding. Then if ever he's lucky, he will be funded. It doesn't speak to someone who wakes up in the morning and maybe who lost work and go to the street and go and work. If ever you go there, they will not entertain you. That's when then you recall during COVID time, we definitely knew very well that there's nothing that we'll get. We knew that they are telling us that there are grants for every business person or businesses in the country. We knew very well that there's nothing that we'll get there. We are not covered. That's why we fought up until to the last day on the 25th of April, where we were fighting. We slept in the Department of Economic Development office. We went to Pretoria in Union Building to make sure that we meet the president. And we managed to meet the president on the 25th of April. We told them that according to the regulations, Pick n Pay, all the big shops, your ShopRite and everybody, they are allowed to open, and they are dealing with fruit and veg. Can't they allow our members, those who are dealing with fruit and veg, to make sure that they are open also? They fall under the categories that were mentioned then, to make sure that they are given a space to make business. Why we did that? Because we knew very well that there's no funding that we can get from any department, from any government in that matter. So lucky enough, we were listening to, I think it was a week after, Minister of Local Government, Nkosazana, went on and announced that we should go to our nearest offices and make sure that we are registered. And then we are allowed to make business. That's how we survive. We survive by ourselves. So to answer you, Ben, we are strictly doing, we are engaging with the deputy president, because when we approached the presidential office, we were told that someone who's responsible for businesses, any business, whether formal or informal, is the office of the deputy president. So we are busy. We're engaging with that level. But you must know, of course, when there are changes, we start from afresh. You know, now we've got a new deputy president. We started with DD. Now we had to start afresh with Paul, whereby he's still very busy, I understand, to attend strictly to our agenda. Going to the first question, the cities or the municipalities and the towns, they will recognize those who come next to those who are formally registered or who are regulated or who are in the list of the cities. Those are the people who will occupy the erected structures. They will be allocated by the cities to occupy that space. But there will be someone who's coming closer to me as I'm doing my business, who's not registered, who's supposed to be regulated by the city officials, in this instance by the Metro Police, to make sure that that person is not competing with me unfairly so. There's no such, there's no rule like that. Those people, they will keep on. Actually, they are the people who are more making money than us, because if I'm on a formulated or a formal structure, some people won't be coming to me, and I go and stock in a very nice market, like if it's a Tequini, a fresh produced market, I'll go and get my stock there. And I make sure that I get the best stock because I want to attract customers. Your Department of Health, they will go around and regulate and make sure whatever that I'm trading in, it's approved. But a person who's going to come close to me will not be regulated. We don't know where they get their stock. Mostly they sell stock that are almost about to be thrown away, maybe by me as I'm trading on the street, or by the market. If you go to any market, they will sell your third grade, and those that the stock that they've been kept in their storerooms with a lesser price. Those people will go there, and there's no one who's regulating who's buying. As long as you go in the market and you've got the cash, they will sell the stock to you. They will buy those stock and quickly come and run and make sure that they are next to any person who's doing informal business. And they will make sure that they are there. So they are labeled as illegal traders. As a forum, our stance into that, there's no one who should be labeled as illegal or legal. We are saying more spaces should be created, more people should be given a space to make sure that they survive, because people, they join our sector not because of their choice, because they have no other option. Some, they will be retrenched. They will be taking their last money. They think that they can survive. We've got most of members who come on a desperate way. They come and join us so that we can assist them. They take their last money, they go and buy even a caravan. They don't even know what is regulating that. They will put their caravan. When they start doing business, a Metro Corp will come and take their caravan. Then they will have nothing. For you to get that caravan out from any compound, you need something not less than plus minus 5,000 rand, which we know very well that they can't afford. Then we go around where we exist. We make sure that we try to create some sort of a friendship with the department, specifically the Metro Police, whereby we understand that the members cannot afford anything. We go and negotiate on their behalf, and we meet halfway in most cases. In most cases, we are listened to. In most cases, whereby we go, we are trying not to be arrogant. We are trying to tell them that we are not the enemies. They normally being accommodated into that. So those are, it's not that the chalk lands that we are saying that they are there. They will be occupied, but there is more of a demand. And I'm only speaking on the informal sector, that is the trading part. You will know if you go to eThekwini, a policy, the newly approved policy, they don't speak of your bush mechanic. They are not covered there. You go, they don't even want to recognize the cyclists, because people that are doing cycling today, they fall under the informal work. They're not recognized. Actually, they are harassed. They are even not allowed to operate. They in the city of Johannesburg, for an example, there's a special line that was designed for bicycle users. That's what we thought it will happen when it comes to the trawlers. They can be allowed to make sure that they compete, or they've given a space to make sure that they are able to push their trolleys freely without disturbing traffic, without being bumped and everything. There's nothing that regulates that. So we are saying, we are pushing, we are doing everything as we did, as we are always doing, as we always run. At least what is making us to survive in most cases now is the courts, because we take these municipalities and the administrators to court. And lucky enough, according to the constitution, at least we are still protected. And that's exactly what we are doing. We go around, we make sure that people that are part of the forum, we make sure we teach them their rights, because they've got rights. Their rights are covered in the Constitution of South Africa. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Brian, for that insightful response. If I can take maybe Andres's question. Andres?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Dan. Thanks to you, Brian. Brian, I mean, informality, yeah, it gets labeled in so many ways. And just to share Shona's sentiments that, you know, it's a sector that's creating jobs, and you find a lot of women involved in it. I think, yeah, your concentration has been on informal traders, and I'm glad that towards the end you mentioned recyclers as well. And if you look at it from a point of solidarity, are you as an organization working with others, working with others within the informal sector? Because I mean, it seems like you have focused on informal traders, but then there's also, you know, organizations that are dealing with informal recyclers or other sectors of informality. So is there any solidarity that you're working together within the space? If you look at it from your informal traders' point of view, the struggles have been prolonged. They've been happening for far much longer. But then if you take it from the recyclers' point of view, it seems like the government is moving much more faster to accommodate them. I know there's legislation that is coming into effect that, you know, for producers, companies that are producing waste, they'll need to then take responsibility and subsidize those people because of their collecting their waste. Have you thought of probably learning from people that are advocating within those spaces and collaborating with them so that, you know, with the work that you're doing and what they're doing, if you bring the causes together, the fight can be much more bigger. And then also another thing that I've noticed is that there's been an emergence of, you know, popularity or a way of people making money out of informality, where people would say that they are advocates of the informal sector. We're seeing a lot of organizations that are rising currently, and they speak on behalf of informal traders or informal recyclers. How do you guys then deal with such people? How do you how do you address such issues? Because not everyone is there to advocate for people's rights, but then others are there just to enhance themselves within the sector.
Interesting questions, Andres. Brian, if you can just attend to those questions.
Oh, okay. The last question, I mean, the other point that I failed to speak to. Are we registered? Yes, we are registered. We are running as an NGO. That's the reason why we managed to take the city to courts in most cases, because they thought that we are just a group that managed to assemble somewhere, and then we don't have a constitution and all that. So when we approach lawyers, we're saying we want this. Those are the things. The first thing that they are looking for is the constitution of the organization. How are we operating and all that? So we are registered. We are registered, and we are fully encouraging everybody to be under any registered organization, not speak specifically our forum, so that we can, when we are fighting, we fight together. It goes to the next questions that says, are we working together with other formation? We are. Actually, we were lucky because after our famous court victory against the city of Johannesburg, with our lawyers, we sat down with them and they accommodated us, and they gave us more space to make sure that we engage with almost everyone. We work with people that are staying with are staying in a informal settlement. We work with people that are doing cycling or recycling. We work with people that are working as, how do you call this? The people that are working at, the domestic workers. Yes, we are working with them. We've got platforms whereby we meet, we discuss our challenges. We commonly find out that it's almost we are fighting for the same thing. And as the results in now, we've got a case that we just launched with in the city of Johannesburg. Not only in the city of Johannesburg, but we are fighting. There's a group, Operation Dudula, whereby they were attacking people and all that. We collaborated with a lot of organizations, be your people that are in informal settlements, be it the people that are your car guards. We collaborated and we met. We said, look, let's approach the court and try to stop government, because we could see, we could read that some actions actually are sponsored, because some xenophobic tendencies are sponsored. They are not only innocent, they are government officials. And from our experience, again, when we meet some government officials, they will be telling us, why are you guys allowing these guys to take over the forum? What is the role of the forum to do that? Why the foreign nationals are coming in? Not knowing that it only happens because some other countries, they've been liberated far better than us, or far. And they know very well that they can survive, or how to survive, how they can utilize the sector to make sure that they liberate themselves financially or economically. So we learn from them, actually. It's not a matter of a space should be reserved from whoever. We know there are people now who are campaigning, like your patriotic alliances. They are telling you that Mabambe, there are a problem, there's this. There's a lot that they will put a brush to and paint everybody with that brush as if it fits everyone. So and why we are ignored? It will be a claim to say we are very fragmented, and then therefore the government cannot assist us, because if they assist South African Informal Traders Forum, tomorrow the Santra that will come and say we are also representing the same people and stuff, then that will be their claim. But it comes to reality that themselves now they are fragmented as politicians, because how many political parties that are registered today? How many independent candidates that are contesting elections and everything? So every space there will be fragmentation. But the main thing that we are doing, we are not here to kill any other formation. Rather, all those formalized formations, we encourage them so that they can affiliate, so that we can operate as a forum. And in most cases, why it seems as if like we are not speaking in one voice, it's simple because of the officials. They always come and get Brian, because they can see Brian, they've got his representing plus minus 11 to 12,000 people. Then therefore he can be influential. They come, they capture me, they sponsor me, they sponsor almost everything that I'm doing. I forget about whatever that I was standing for. And then in a later stage, I'm captured. Then we forget the struggle that we are pushing for. So that in that strategy, sometime they manage to capture us, because they will promise you money. And then if you get that money, and then therefore you have to do as they say to you. I think I answered the question.
Thank you so much, Brian. We've got a contribution from Zamo in the chat box. He says, informal street traders are faced with many challenges. Thank you for this discussion. I think we need a campaign that will address the unavailability of funds, lack of support from the government, infrastructure, lack of management skills and marketing skills. Informal street traders experience lack of financial assistance from government, lack of management skills, and lack of marketing skills. There is available evidence that the informal sector creates job opportunities, income source, and it leads to poverty reduction. Consequently, we should collectively recommend that government and private sector should initiate strategies to support informal traders. Informal traders should strive towards formalizing their businesses to access support offered by government and the private sector. We need to join hands. I think it's a very important contribution from Zamo. Do we have any more questions? Andres, you still have questions? I see your hand is up.
Just one last question, and this is just to pick Brian's brain. Brian, with certain informal sectors, we've seen an involvement of, the private sector, where some organizations are working with the private sector just to, as part of their CSI, and they'll term it as they are moving them from the informal sector to the formal sector. What's your take on that? And do you think that there needs to be more collaboration with the private sector, or do you think that they're just there, just to enhance their brands or take advantage of the people?
Actually, that's exactly your last word. It's exactly what is happening. They are taking advantage of people. They've got no interest. They see that these people are the people that can bring more work for them, because they operate formally on a formal space, and they rob them. Like, for an example, a cycler, we will collect everything. Those people that are collecting rubbish, they will collect more as they can. If ever they have to go and sell in bulks, you'll find out that there is no company that is ready to entertain them. They must use a formalized kind of a recycler. Then in that, those people are simply making nothing. What we are doing, because we know very well that the informal space now, it's not only occupied by people who are disadvantaged by coming to education and everything. We know we've got a lot of graduates today that are sitting at home. They are entering the space. They've got the skills of your marketing. They've got every skill. They come, they are bringing those skills. So we collaborate with such people. We make sure that we use them and we use their experience, so that our sector must liberate itself. You see, if ever you go to a market, the prices that these farmers are using to sell the stock to our members, they are ridiculous. Verushka will attest to that. We've been fighting a war with a Tekwini produced a market, of which we believe it won't be won today, because there's a lot that is involved. Our politicians are involved into that. They are making money, they are benefiting. So if ever we can we are fighting, we want a land whereby we'll go and plant our own stuff, whereby we can know very well that we've got a certain farmers that will be dealing with the informal sector, for an example, and they produce, they sell to themselves with a very reasonable price, and we make sure that we survive, and we're taking the sector forward.
Thank you, Brian. It's exactly 2 o'clock. I think we need to close the session. Thank you so much for making time to come and discuss your views on informal work and how it has been sort of regulated, although sometimes in an unfair processes. We thank you so much for the great job that you are doing with your organization. Hopefully, you will keep on fighting 30 years from now. The struggle continues, for sustainable livelihoods, and also so that we can, as informal traders, as offsprings of our mothers, our parents were informal traders at one point, so we can actually continue with that struggle forward. I think I will pass this to Shona. If you have any closing remarks. Thanks to everyone who joined in. We really appreciate your presence. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks so much, Dan. Thanks, Brian, and thanks, Ben. That was a really interesting seminar. Brian, I hope that we can keep in touch and keep sort of up to date with your work. And if there's any way we can help your cause in any way, we would be so happy to do that. Please, those of you who've participated, thank you for participating firstly, but please keep an eye on the mailing list because we have other very interesting seminars like this one in this series. So thank you to Dan and thank you to Andres. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Simo.
Thanks a lot, Chair. Thanks. We really hope that we can get this platform because there's a lot. When it comes to the formal companies trying to work with us, there's a lot that can be discussed and be said. There's a lot that is happening in that space. Thanks a lot. Thanks again for inviting us.
Okay, Brian, to more future collaborations, you know, our platform is always open. Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
See
Bye.
you again.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.